Hello, everyone.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year indeed. All right, we'll give folks a few minutes to join.
So the Zoom client on Linux has broken again where me trying to share my screen hard crashed it.
Lovely.
Web UI is where it's at. Trust me.
All right, I
The
see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 TOC members on the call. Good thing we're not making any decisions today. All right, I'm going to give everybody another minute. There's Duffy, we got 6. All right,
I've just went ahead and made you co-host, so that way I don't know if you want to share your screen or if someone else can potentially share their screen.
oh boy, y'all are gonna see the nightmare that is my life. Hold on. I think that's light. That looks right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I, it's an equal participant. Let me just make sure I got chat pulled up. All right. Hello, everyone. Today is January 7th, 2025. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us today in the Technical Oversight Committee's meeting. As a quick reminder, your participation and presence on this call means that you are going to abide by the Linux Foundation's antitrust policy notice. If you have any questions about it, it is currently being hopefully displayed on your screen. So meeting logistics, you made it, you know Zoom, you know the passcode, or you've dialed in by telephone. Our agenda and meeting minutes are here on the screen. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, it's election season again in open source communities. We have 2 elections coming up. First reminder is primarily for the TOC members. We've had some fabulous nominees to the Code of Conduct Committee. And you should expect to see the contorset voting go into the TOC members' inbox by close of business on Friday. We have a 1-week voting window for stack ranking. Please get that done. I cannot stress the importance of ensuring that we have a robust and responsive Code of Conduct Committee, particularly as we start the new year. Let's make sure they're set up for success moving forward. And then TOC elections are coming soon to a inbox near you. We unfortunately missed the initial window for getting the notification out to the governing board. We're working on correcting that this morning and this week. So governing board members, community members, TOC elections are coming soon. Please check in with your governing board member and your reserve representative or other community members. If you have an individual that you think would be excellent on the TOC, please make sure they read through the onboarding guide, understand the expectations and time commitment associated with the role. They are more than happy to reach out to any TOC members, drop in our TOC public Slack channel, ask questions about what it means to be on the TOC. No surprise, it's not just engineering fun. It's a lot of discussions and engagements and technical conflict resolution with projects. So again, if you have any questions, expect those nomination notifications to go out soon. There will be a qualification period with new evidence and links for individuals that are voting or qualifying candidates to understand what they've actually been participating in within the ecosystem. And then hopefully we will have a new TOC seated by mid-February at the very latest. Any questions on elections currently? All right, moving on. Next topic is agenda building. We were fortunate to have Bob join the TOC as our staff last year. He's been incredibly helpful at getting up to speed on the new processes, a lot of the changes that we've been introducing. So now we need to get into the habit of building out our TOC public and private meeting agendas on a monthly cadence. This ensures that we're staying ahead of the curve and not responsive or responding when incidents or events occur, that we are being proactive in trying to prevent their occurrence in the first place. And that is through discussions, understanding what's going on in the ecosystem, changes, new projects that are coming in. Bob.
Sorry, quick thing. The document I was looking at was out of date. It was actually the previous schedule from last year. I have the election timeline is things will be going out. Like the TOC elections will kick off after the new GB is seated, and the chair election takes place there.
Okay,
So it actually pushes out the new TOC members being seated at the latest by March 4th.
That's sad to hear, but okay. I understand. All right, so shifting everything back a month. Thanks, Bob, for the correction.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're still learning. We're figuring this out.
Still getting back from the holidays.
Yeah, we all have holiday brain. So as far as agendas go, for January, we have the sandbox meeting next week. It is an hour and a half long. We have 20 projects in the queue to go through, so I cannot stress enough about the importance that every TOC member takes time out of their very busy schedule to go through and review those sandbox projects, review the comments from our tags who have worked hard on conducting technical reviews of them and providing information to help us make an informed decision. So that's next Tuesday. The following Tuesday after that is the 21st. It is a public meeting. We currently do not have any agenda topics for that. So my question to this broad audience and group is there something that should be discussed by the TOC in a public forum in the month of January? And before my tag friends mention about the restructure and the reboot proposal that is being worked, we plan on having a presentation and discussion in the February 4th meeting. So we're pausing those tag monthly updates for the time being so that we can focus on that restructure and getting everybody set up for success in the year 2025. So given that, January 21st, any items for public discussion by the TOC that we need to be made aware of? We also have a issue open on the TOC repo just to collect those agenda topic items. It's TOC Meeting Public 2025-01-21. Okay. And then the last meeting in January will be a TOC private meeting, and we'll talk internally about what are the next steps for the TOC to talk about there. We do have upcoming TOC members. It's probably a good idea to go through our repo and make sure everything is up to date, makes sense, and that we are not missing anything that's outstanding. So it could be a working session for TOC members. Any questions, comments, observations on that? To Dims's point, go through our repo. There's a lot of stuff that's interesting in there. I think it's Junkie who asked the question in chat of any pointers for newcomers. So if you're new to the TOC, new to this meeting, definitely check out our repo. There's a lot of great information there, as well as contribute.cncf.io.
Yep, sure. And hi, everybody. This is Janki here.
All right. Next up, we have a due date for January 31st for the TOC keynote for London. Typically, the way that we run TOC keynotes is we try to ensure that there is regional representation of at least one TOC member. So making sure that we don't have all North American TOC members on a European stage giving a keynote. We want to make sure that we have appropriate representation. We also want to provide the opportunity for new TOC members to talk about the TOC and kind of what they've learned and observed and share a little bit about their experience as part of that keynote. Lynn and Karina gave our keynote at North America last time, so we thank them so much for doing that. They got pretty positive feedback, no issues with content. So my question to you all is, what should the TOC be talking about on the keynote stage that we can start crafting our abstract against?
Yeah, so Emily, I sent you the feedback. I think people definitely like us to talk about some of the technology side. I think in the past you had similar feedback. The process stuff, it's not relevant to most of the audience, right? It's more relevant to the project maintainers who needs to go through the process, where the keynote, most of the people are like users, developers. So the technology trends are certainly very, very applicable. I think it would be good if we can refresh like what's next or the technology trends we see as we evaluate project. That would be really cool.
Yep. So TOC keynote, I'm hearing tech trends and recent, maybe sandbox applications as well. New technologies coming in.
Yeah, like different areas. I think sometimes I know Karina might have a different perspective than me. Sometimes I think it's okay to name a project or two briefly, but not focus on a project, right? Because sometimes I feel like it would be a little bit too vague, just talk about technology without saying, hey, these are the projects also we see coming, interesting. It's a hard balance because we want to represent all the vendors and the community, so we don't want to name project be the kingmaker, but on the other hand, not talking about a project or multiple project combined sometimes feels like we're just waving hands. So
Yeah, I completely understand. Siam had a good suggestion in chat as well about not only just the technology focus areas and specific projects, but also what are the tags in our various working groups seeing in terms of innovation and what's actually happening in the ecosystem.
Hi. I think we can also talk a little bit about where people can go find the information that they need when they need it, right? We have a lot of resources. I mean, other than landscape, where we try to gather information on like what people should be using, together, so to say. Radar, this, that, right? So like they don't need that information right then and there when they are watching the keynote, but when the time comes, they should know what are the things that are there that they can go, tap for building their own technology stacks within their companies, I think.
Yep, I agree. QR codes as a call to action is always good, but having that centrality of like the one slide you need to navigate CNCF. If you have questions on papers, here's where you can go find them all. If you have a question on a particular domain, here's a tag that you can reach out to. So kind of creating that simplicity for new attendees, because it's still over 50% new attendees at the conference. Ricardo.
Yeah, I was just gonna build on what you just said, which is there's 50% new attendees, so re-stressing the meaning of the levels is also something we might want to do because a lot of people don't really know what graduated, incubated, sandbox really mean. And especially for end users, this is quite relevant just to explain what the value is from the TOC with this information. I agree with Lynn that going through the process in details is probably not super useful in a keynote. On the other hand, just a quick summary of what these levels means and what we provide from the TOC would be very useful.
So something that's a little bit more concrete of like, hey, if you're looking at this project, it's a sandbox project. That means we don't recommend it for production environments. Or where it's incubation, this project might have some production level ready adopters, expect to provide some level of time commitment in doing integration, but they're on a path for production readiness, something along those lines.
I guess that's it. Like, if you want to use a sandbox project, you probably have to do your own due diligence. If you're doing incubation or graduation, we already did quite a bit of the work.
And where to find it if they have questions. Okay. Karina and then Bob.
So I'm trying to type notes while, we're talking too. Like you mentioned, both Ricardo and Emily, that we have a lot of new people, new attendees each time. And we also have project maintainers. We also have end users that do not apply or don't really care what a project is working on, just that they can use it and implement it into their environment. So one discussion that Lynn and I had been having was we talked about the technical reviews not as a process. However, end users do rely on the TOC and this whole community to do thorough technical reviews. And what exactly is a project doing at each level is very important, not at a process level, but really what are we looking at, right? As an end user, are you looking at sandbox projects, incubated projects, or are you only looking at graduated projects, and why does that matter? Otherwise, yeah, but I agree with what you were saying, Ricardo. I liked what I had it in my notes, what you're saying about the that people actually don't really quite know what sandbox, incubated, and graduated mean. But Bob, I'll shift it to you.
So on the subject of people not knowing what sandbox, incubating, and graduated actually mean, like I was actually looking around and there isn't like an easily discoverable definition anywhere. We we list out the projects of what sandbox, incubating, and graduated is. And we have like a few lightweight descriptions of like, one sentencers, but not a actually, here is what a sandbox project is, here's what an incubating, and you know what I mean.
Katie?
Yes, I was trying to type as well. Perhaps building up on this, seems like there is a gap in terms of definitions, and I'm trying to understand if it might be helpful for us to do some kind of surveys to understand what exactly we need to elaborate on, because every single KubeCon we do mention graduation projects. We have those updates from graduated projects. There is incubated projects around the showcase as well. So there is this kind of terminology floating around, and I think people will kind of catch up on what it actually means. But I'm trying to see if we can craft a bigger or like a more flowy story around these levels, or like what actually people find useful to get from this, because just an introduction of definitions of every single level, I don't think we're gonna achieve as much. So I'm trying to see if there's a bit more depth that we can go into. Perhaps we can do a case study of this is a project that currently like graduated last year. We can take, for example, a cert manager. Like this is like their level of sandbox, then they move to incubation, this is graduation. So we can craft it around the story rather than just definitions around. But it's quite challenging to pick up projects individually as well. So maybe an idea we can play with.
So 2 points there. Definitely like the idea of selecting a project and walking through their life cycle as an example of like the moving levels, the technical maturity versus the governance and people maturity that Dimson mentioned. I think that gives it a little bit more concrete. We could talk about the technology. We could talk about the changes in the project that occurred at each of those stages. I think that's good to highlight, but I think you touched on a much larger point is we as the TOC don't really know what is missing in our definitions. We have all this content in our repo. Ricardo posted the link to where we provide some of those definitions. I know I've provided definitions in various forms at different conferences, talks, one-on-ones that I have with folks in the community. But it sounds like, and we've received this feedback, that there's a much larger missed opportunity for understanding, that we really need to know what that is so that we can improve and get that messaging corrected. And maybe that results in improvements, modifications, changes, and potentially simplicity in a lot of the information that's being shared out there. So to that end, go ahead, Katie.
Perhaps again, building up on this, we could also craft the idea from different perspectives. So we have a project and we can say this is what the TOC sees and evaluates. Then we can, especially with the new process, we can provide the maintainer perspective. It's like, okay, we have this checklist, we understand, like I'm referring to the new process as well. They can be like, this is like a nice streamlined process for us. And then we can showcase the end user perspective, which is like, okay, we see it's graduated. That means there is a level of confidence for us to use it in in production. So we can actually, again, like it's the same definition, it's the same terminology of graduation or incubated, but we can provide these different perspectives so we can cater for different audiences at the same time as well. So maybe another idea.
Yep. So Bob, my ask for you is that survey, that question, can we put that out for something to happen in March with the new, between February and March, hopefully putting out a survey to get those questions from the community and then from adopters and end users about what do they think the levels mean? What do they think each of them convey, or what assurance is being provided?
Yes, but I can tell you, like, we will not get a good amount of results back. Like it takes a lot just to get even a few people to fill out the surveys.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe a good topic for another private TOC meeting on how do we get the answers to those questions that Katie had mentioned. Karina?
So this would be for KubeCon London, this would be great for the project team to walk through as they are talking to projects. If it's a very short survey, just each time you're talking to a different project, just have them fill it out. And if we target KubeCon London for that, that'd be perfect, as well as the Maintainer Summit and on the floor during KubeCon. So that's my suggestion.
Yep, that I think that gives us the project coverage. It's the end users and the adopters, I think, will be the next gap.
And,
go
ahead, Bob.
We tried getting folks to fill out the maintainer survey at the Project Pavilion in North America, but that one not resulting in a lot of responses. George can, yeah, we totally. One thing we can do too is have that at the maintainer summit as well as a thing. But
so more to come on
it's
that.
definitely been a problem getting any sort of responses from people.
Okay.
Yeah, we can confirm, Karina, and I also try to send out forms and ask Taylor for end user. I think we get 0 response. We reminded multiple times. So yeah.
Okay. Well, Karina?
As far as for end users, that for a long-term possible solution is that when we're going through the adopter interviews, just have it as a closeout survey for the adopter interviews.
I like that suggestion as well, since we're already engaged, we already have the dedicated time, and it's just hopefully just one other question we can add. Could someone take an action to file a PR with what that additional adopter interview question would be, so we can get it incorporated? Thanks, Ricardo. Okay, So we got a lot of really good ideas on the TOC keynote. If you have other ideas, drop them on the issue 1491 where we're having some of this discussion, and then one of us will take an action to write up the abstract, and then we'll talk about with the new TOC being seated in March, a month before KubeCon, who's going to be getting up on stage and delivering it. We might need to have some continuity, so it might just be one new TOC member and one that's been around for a while. Okay, so we talked about the keynote for London. I briefly mentioned the sandbox meeting, but I do want to bring it up again. Can't say it enough. We have over 20 projects. We have an hour and a half to go through them all. Please take some time, read through the comments from the tags, all the work that they've put in, all the applications themselves. If we can get through all 20, that would be fabulous, because then we can start the year off with a much lower backlog in our sandbox queue. Bob.
Honestly, it might be, at least if the TOC member is okay with it, like literally go through the queue and assign a TOC member just to like take, like, can even be round robin or whatever to review some of those ones. Just that way there's at least someone that can report on, you know, their thoughts on it at the sandbox review.
I like that because, have us focus on 2 was 20 is so much better. Thank you.
Okay, do we want to do that? Have each TUC member take 2 projects, maybe 3?
Yeah, but I think we should still try to go through them all.
Yeah.
Because like if we have only one member of the TOC looking at the project, we won't have the usual discussion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the idea of having at least a single person who we know has already looked at it, but making sure that everybody has paid attention and reviewed content.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Emily, it should be more like that is the person that is driving the discussion, but other people should have already looked.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Do we want to do that ad hoc during the meeting, or do we want to get those assignments out beforehand so we're not staring at each other with smiles on our faces in the sandbox meeting? Beforehand.
Do you
Yeah.
want a self-grab or do you want just assigned based on the tag it belongs to and who are the existing tag liaison? I'm happy either way, but like you said, we just need to get it assigned.
Karina?
Since we have enough TOC members here right now, can we do that right this moment and just get that over with?
Works for me.
Okay.
All right, who wants open tofu?
I kind of like Dem's idea of random so that it's not unnecessary, it's not biased, even if we don't mean to be.
Okay.
We could round robin through the, if you look at.
Dems, you got open tofu. All right, that one's done.
Should you assign one other person so you have 2 people for each one?
Oh, yes, good call. Let's see here. Who's next on the list after Dems?
Do we
Oh,
also assign to people whose terms are ending?
That's okay for this one since the review is
Okay.
before the terms are ending. It's
Okay,
just the
yeah.
PD.
Okay, I'm gonna have to rely on you all to give me TOC members because there's 11 of us and I know you all, but naming in memory is hard for me right now. All right.
I put them all on the agenda, or everybody that's here right now. So
Okay.
next on the list.
It's
Thank
just
you.
missing Kathy and Nikita.
Oh,
Okay.
Kathy and Nikita.
Okay. All right, so we got those 2. Who else? I got 4 TOC members
Spin
down.
and Spin Cube should be evaluated by the same people together.
Okay.
Ricardo and Katie.
Okay. All right. Ricardo. All right. Substation. Who else?
Duffy.
Okay. All right. Slim Fast.
We have
Kevin.
Len and Kevin.
Okay. Yep. All right. Aluston.
Now we're gonna mix them up again.
Yep.
Dems and Katie.
Okay. Container to Wasm.
Let's see, Duffy and myself.
Okay. This is so exciting. I'm sure everybody is loving us do this.
Right.
Honestly, like when it comes to reviewing this stuff, I get so much stuff from GitHub that unless I'm actually assigned, I never actually see it. So I think actually going through and just randomly assigning works out well to
Good.
get into people's queues.
Emily,
Yep.
and this is, I think, an easy one.
Thanks. Who else?
Ricardo,
Okay.
just since we've talked about it before.
K0S.
Dems and Kevin.
Okay. Oh, there's so many of these. Cardinal.
Len. Ricardo.
I'm not really complaining, but
I was
Oh,
gonna
Dave,
say,
I think
here.
I'm not getting
Dave
any of
is,
these.
yeah. Good.
Dave, you joined after I saw everybody that was here.
Okay.
So
You
good.
guys are
sorry.
totally crushing it without me, so don't worry about it. But
No,
let's
but
do Lynn and
Dave.
Dave. Okay.
Thank you for speaking up and
I
volunteering.
know.
Yeah.
So happy you're here, Dave. Yeah.
All right.
So sorry.
So Dave, you're gonna get run me as well. Here we go. All right. So if we got Dave here,
You can also, toss on Kathy or Nikita on there too.
okay. And then Cloud Native PG, Nikita. Who else? There's 11 of us, so we're being
Dave.
odd. Dave will get 3 now. We're on the 3rd round. All right. Okay. Drazzy.
Katie and Kevin.
Okay. All right. Podman Container Tools. Cannot be me or Karina.
No. Dems.
Yeah, that'd be
and
4th round, but yeah, sure.
sorry, Emily. No, you can't do Emily.
No, you can give it to me. Karina.
So Dems and
Lynn?
Kevin again.
Or yeah, Kevin works.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it probably has to be the same 2 people for those 4.
How many are we each person getting?
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
No. I just want to make sure we're balanced well.
Um,
Or we just assign all to Dave.
what you can actually here, like, let me.
Or we can, for the rest of this, we just assign Bob to randomly put TOC members on the rest of them.
I like that idea.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Bob is going to take care of correcting the assignments for these to make sure that
Thank
it's
you.
hopefully relatively equal. Thank you so much, Bob, for doing that since we are failing miserably at it
Oh, no,
currently.
we have a using the milestone instead of the project board makes it easier to see.
Why didn't you just say that sooner? Instead, you're making me jump all over the place. Okay, where were we? One of these is. Oh, I think I lost where I was. Stand by. We're today, the 7th. Hey, let's jump back in here. Okay. So sandbox meeting, Bob is going to do random assignments and correct things. So hopefully Dims doesn't get all of those same projects in addition to the ones that we already assigned him because they're still individual projects. All right. We talked about all of that. Due diligence backlog triaging for ready to assign. So we've got a few TOC members that will be sticking around past the election cycle. If you are going to remain, you're not up for re-election, go ahead and start doing the backlog due diligence triage. What does that mean, Emily? Why? I'm glad you all asked. So we have this TOC board, applications to move levels. We made some recent changes to hopefully improve the clarity for the TOC. We have new, when projects apply to move levels, they go into our new column. That's the backlog. They jump all the way down to the bottom. You'll notice that the numbers on the screen are not in order. Why is that? We had several projects that applied previously underneath of the old process. We switched to the new process. They reapplied under the new process. So you'll see the ordering is very carefully constructed to reflect the order in which they previously applied. So we've tried to honor that as much as possible. Every issue should have a comment or a link to the past application. So it's very clear. We just need to take some time and go through and double check it. That being said, there is a new TOC due diligence guide for triaging that just got merged, right? It's under our operations folder, I think, and onboarding. Everybody, is there someone else that remembers where this is? I know I filed the PR, but I don't quite recall. Anyone?
Which one are you asking for? Sorry, Emily.
The PR that talks about the triaging process.
Maybe
make sure.
search for triage. I remember review yours.
Yeah. We have so much stuff in our repo now. Oh, look, there it is. It's in the DB
There.
guide. I was in the wrong one. All right, let's go here quickly. Triaging applications. Everyone, here is the information on how we are triaging and evaluating project applications to move levels prior to assignment. Tried to make it really easy to do. We have recently learned projects are filing applications, but not necessarily completing all the criteria, just checking off stuff. So this is a lightweight checklist for us to go through and say, is there a link? Is there a list? Is there something, some content here that I can just verify? This should not take a substantial amount of time. When you're done triaging a project, if they are good to move forward, meaning they don't have anything that is a clear blocker, put it in the ready to be assigned column. That way the next TOC member can just assign it to themselves and move forward. If it is not ready, meaning they have one or more things that are considered hard blockers, comment on the issue with what they are, be as specific as possible, and close it. If they're not ready, they're not ready. We're not holding places in line. We have a really long queue of projects and we need to get through it. Okay.
So, Emily, they lose their spot if
Correct.
the application is not complete. So we have to like drive home that point.
Yes, if they are not ready for us to pick them up, they lose their spot. This is, our backlog is not a place in line for that purpose. It is not a hurry up and apply and then in the next 6 months before the TOC gets to me, I'll complete my self-assessment and I'll complete my other requirements that are considered blocking at this point in time. We need to be more deliberate about this to get these projects moving forward because it's unfair to a project that has been ready for over a year that we're waiting on someone else. Bob.
So this is an older to do. I it might have been me. I don't remember who it was actually like tasked to, but like having at least a bit of language and requirements, because like they also have to submit the um, list of
Adopters.
adopters and things like that.
Yep. So for the, I think that one is in here. There was a link to it. Adoption assertion includes a link to the adopters file, and the project has an entry in the adopters form responses to provide 5 to 7 adopters to reach out to. That adopters form response is located in the TOC drive. Is that correct, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have questions on where that drive link is, reach out to Bob or myself. We will find it and make sure you have it. Okay. Any other things for this?
I mean,
Maybe-
like it might be just having that like one, like just having a comment that we copy and paste to all the open ones, meaning like basically stating that these must be submitted, this must be complete, you must have your security self-assessment or whatever complete.
Yep. Now, to that point, because we didn't have the adopters form responses up when many of these projects applied, that is the one grace that we're providing most of them is go through and fill out this form so that we can collect information early. So just drop that on a comment. That's not considered blocking at this point in time, but we will make it a blocking item moving forward, probably at the later half of this year. Sound good? Okay. We go with the triaging process that was recently merged. We feel empowered to go forth and conquer our backlog.
So I have a quick question. Do you think it makes sense when they open an issue for incubation or graduation, we link to this triage assignment, ask them to review so that they would know, oh, I'm not entirely satisfied, and then maybe I don't submit the issue, so a backlog would be reduced by them not doing it.
So kind of introducing a not necessarily a warning, but the equivalent of
Yeah.
an informational banner. Yes.
Yeah, because we have this like in the Israel community, before you apply a member, you need to submit one merge PR. So people kind of have to make sure they do that before they even open an issue and apply to be a member. So I was wondering if we do that, like if we change the template file for the issue, then because I don't know, one thing I wasn't sure is I don't think it's a separate repo, because Sandbox is a separate repo, but incubation and graduate, I think it's in the same repo as everything else. So it might be a little bit harder for apply something like that.
Yeah, I think that can be done. Anybody have GitHub foo that can create that warning banner, or do we just need to modify the template and say, hey, if you're filling this out, please make sure that you're familiar with our triaging process. If you don't have all of it done, you're getting removed.
The banner stuff is org wide, so it couldn't be like for a specific repo.
Okay.
So maybe just modify the GitHub issue. I think you can supply multiple template. Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. So for applying for incubation and graduation, we could have the template refer to, make sure you read the link and do a sanity check. That would be really cool.
All right. So who wants to take that on?
Bob, maybe I can work with you and submit the PR. I may need your help just to make sure I'm doing the right thing, because I would like to, as a defensive way for us to get the backlog reduced. All right, I will take that on.
Awesome. Thanks, Lynn.
Sure.
Okay. So speaking of backlog, we have the cube armor. Whoa. Oh, someone triaged cube armor already? And Knative?
Yeah, I just moved those over because I'd been working with them to make sure they were ready. So the triage. So just to make sure we're starting on the right foot in 2025, those were the ones that were already triaged.
Fabulous. Excellent. Well, I am shocked and pleasantly surprised. Thank you for doing that. So do we want to do that with Meshery then? Or
Meshery has a few things it just needs to go through and make sure that they did the things that were asked in the triage. So they could be ready very soon. I just haven't gone back to see if they did.
Okay. So you're working this one from a triage perspective.
Just from a triage perspective.
Okay. So
I believe I also started the triage on open telemetry if you wanted to open that one up.
yeah.
This is prior to the recent merge though. So
Okay.
just FYI.
All right. So Otel's in the process of triaging then as well. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. How about OpenFGA?
If you scroll down, I can't remember.
Yep. Sorry. Kevin, looks like
Kevin.
you did this one.
Yeah, I just took a quick look and seems they not yet finished providing the adopter list. Yeah.
All right. Just follow up and check in with them and see when that'll be done.
All
So this is great. Y'all are doing fabulous. Thank you. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have been already triaged. How many TOC members are sticking around? At least 4, 5 of us, right? It's more than enough. Okay. Well, do we want to try the process for Litmus Chaos? Or do we want to let everybody go with 14 minutes back in their day now that we've had this lovely conversation about triaging and folks have already just started working on it?
I have a question, Emily. Sorry,
Yep.
go ahead, Karina.
Go ahead, Ricardo, if yours is on this topic.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask for the triage, do we want to like pick up randomly, or we could also, because it's kind of a lighter weight process,
Mm-hmm.
do we want to take like volunteers for the stuff that is there in the backlog? Because right now I have one assigned that is ongoing the DD, but I'm happy to just triage a couple.
Okay. Yeah, I think that works. I think part of it would just be, do we want to just say commenting on the issue that you're going to be triaging the project and to expect updates soon? Does that work?
Okay, should we do that? We just pick in order from the top, and
Yeah.
everyone takes what they feel.
Yep. So Karina went through, did Meshery Hotel, Kevin did OpenFGA, Litmus KS is the next one, K3S. So who wants to do Litmus?
I'm happy to take that one.
Okay. Do you want me to tag you or comment you? Or you will comment?
You can tag me. That's fine.
Okay, sweet. All right. K3S is next.
I can try this one. I'm actually using K3S a lot. That's my only affiliation with it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I agree, Bob. The automation would help. Tecton? Why did that not open? Because I clicked the wrong thing. Who wants to do Tecton?
I can do.
Oh, okay. Very robust stems. Okay. Fluid, I can take that one. Sure, I'll take fluids application.
Looks like Kevin already did.
Oh,
some.
Kevin, do you have this? You do. All right, so Kevin's triaging.
Yeah,
that.
I did that once. Yes.
Okay, good catch. Thanks, Stems. Chaos Blade. No one, I'll do this one then. Lima?
Can do that one as well.
Okay. All right. K-serve. Let's see here. Karina?
With
I actually took a look once.
nice, good one. So with 10 minutes left, I'm wondering if we could have two TOC members pick up the two that are in the ready, and then also whether we still wanted to briefly discuss tag reboot before we end.
So tag reboot, if we want to have a conversation about it now, that's good. February 4th was the date that I was targeting for the presentation to the tags on like kind of everything. But if you have a quick status update, that's good. As far as ready for assignment goes, I'm happy to take Cube Armor as my next project. If anybody wants to join me, great. If not, totally understand. Hearing no objections, I'll take Cube Armor. And anybody free for Knative?
It doesn't have to be started today, just picked up.
Yep.
I'm looking at Dems.
I'm not volunteering right now. Yeah, next 2 weeks are going to be kind of like long for me. So after that, I'll pick up whatever is open at that time.
Okay. Well, for right now, TOC members, if you have a project in voting, or you are down to just one project and you're waiting for something for whatever reason, you can probably start looking at picking up your next application. If you don't have any projects assigned to you and you still are going to be on the TOC post-elections, please do pick up the next project in the backlog. Okay. Karina, over to you for that quick update on the tag restructuring and reboot.
Thank you. So really, I just wanted to bring up a couple of things that we're looking at because we're seeing a lot of patterns emerge since we've got 23 people here, so we still have some, I see tag observability, I see, let's see, contributor strategy and others. So thanks for being here. And runtime, hey, Ricardo. So we see a lot of trends coming out that a lot of the working groups just aren't doing anything and aren't being spun down. We've also done a really thorough review of all the current leadership. And also, as we're looking at the new tags going forward, there's two areas that we're really looking at. One is, what is the service being provided back to the TOC? Remember, this is a technical advisory group for the CNCF and for the TOC. So what is the service to the TOC? What is the service back to the projects? So through the last few years, we've had some working groups spun up that are more end user focused, more outside of the purview of what the TOC is really looking for. And there's other areas in the CNCF and the ecosystem and the communities where we could see a lot of engagement there, whether it's through the end user tab, we've got user groups, etc. So just wanted to put that out there that as we're looking through the reviews, which tags and working groups are working on things that are out of scope of their charter, as well as what is being completed. So there's a lot of groups that have been around for a while that really haven't had specific outcomes as well. So I just wanted to bring that up so nobody's surprised when also all the comments, we've thoroughly gone through every single comment. And I know I did see comments around, okay, where is this being communicated? Every TOC member that is a liaison to a tag has reached out to their tag to solicit comments and feedback. So the community members should also be talking to their specific tags if they have issues. And then we have the TOC Slack. Remember, everybody, there's the tag and TOC private channel, and then there's the public TOC one. So just remember that those are good avenues for communication and collaboration. I just wanted to very quickly, couple minutes, that's the TLDR for the February meeting. But
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for the updates. All right, we got 5 minutes left. Any other questions, comments on anything discussed today? Any questions, comments on things we haven't talked about yet? No?
Oh, the naming conversation, there is a PR. It's a small PR, so just take a look, and if it's okay, then we can ship it next week.
Yep. That was what, 14-15, is that correct?
Yeah, 15-14.
15-14.
God, memory.
Yeah, used to know all the government regulations, but not anymore. So if you have time, take a look at that PR. Just a small improvement on guidance for projects that are seeking to join the CNCF or have naming questions. Take a look. And I guess that's it. Have a happy new year, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and getting. Bye.
Later
Bye.
all.
Bye.